big topic that's been popping up everywhere. I'm seeing people talk about this all the time is about boundaries, right? 2022 seems like the year of boundaries. I fully support it. I want everybody to set some nice, healthy boundaries for themselves this year. I'd love to know what that looks like at work. So, how can an individual set boundaries at work, but also empower their teammates in supporting and setting boundaries for themselves and for others?
Once again, modeling that behavior, from a leadership perspective, modeling that if we say the workday ends at whatever time, then I don't answer the things until tomorrow unless it is a legitimate emergency. So if you say that, but then you're texting someone at 9 p.m. or you're emailing at 2 a.m., there's this underlying unspoken expectation that makes people, in particular people like me, very anxious. So if I'm looking at TV and I see something from a manager come through, I'm like, I have to answer that because I don't want to be perceived as being disconnected, right? But if we say the day ends at 5 o'clock, well, at 9:01, I will holler at you about these things, and we'll talk about it. And then once again, modeling your own boundaries, especially people who have all of these rich lives outside of work, and things that they want to take care of and do. I will, if it says in my thing, I'll get back to you tomorrow at between the hours of whatever time, then that's what I'm going to do.
I love good boundaries. Yes, Rachel. Yeah, yes, Vienna for this question. And shouts to our co-CEO Rachel M because I know she recently wrote a blog post about boundaries. So check that out. This is a shameless plug. But then also thinking about like taking time off, right? So when I first got online, I was like, I just got back from vacation. Let me tell y'all, I'm a different human. I am healed, moisturized, hydrated, all of those things, right? Because it is so DEI work is taxing. I mean, most of us, even if you're not doing DEI work, we are spending most of our lives at work, right? I used to say that about my nieces, where I'm like, you all spend most of your time in school, so I'm not sure, like, if what we're doing in the home will actually create any changes in your life. And now, as an adult, I'm like, we're doing the same exact things, right? And so, plus one to everything Rachel said, take some time off, and thinking about how can you model that with each other, right? We've also at SGO been thinking about quarterly trips. Obviously, that's on the back burner because of COVID and because we want to make sure we're safe. But hopefully, when things are better, really thinking about how can we also collectively rest together, right? A lot of times we think about care on an individualistic level, and as a workplace, especially for those of you who are within smaller teams, I know everyone might not be able to do this if you're working at an international company or a big company, but how do you do retreats and like actual retreats where you're resting, right? Not like talking about work all the time, but taking time to get to know each other, taking time to rest so that you don't have to take a vacation from the vacation. I don't know if some of y'all know what that feels like, but that's a real thing. And it's just a lot. And you're just like, I need another week from the week that I just had, right?
Mhm.
And then another piece of this, it would just be really just checking in with folks in terms of meeting times. I think because a lot of us are working virtually, a lot of us might be parents, we might be caregivers, right? There might be so many things happening. So my 7 a.m. does not look like my colleague's 7 a.m. because I got 500 things to do beforehand, right? And so, how do we set boundaries in that way, but then also create an environment and a workplace where people can name that and feel like, oh, I'm not going to be reprimanded or punished for naming or setting those boundaries.
For sure. My 7 a.m. doesn't look like your 7 a.m. because Auntie is in the bed at 7 a.m. And that leads me to talk about flexible work schedules. If you're in a place where you can have flexible work schedules, right? Like lean into that because some people, I do not operate well at 7 a.m. and some of you do, and that's fantastic. But requiring someone like me to be on and popping that early in the morning is not really going to be a good look, right? And so if we can embrace a time, well, when am I my best self? When can I show up as the best Rachel that I can be, and is that different than somebody else's, and honoring that, and that's okay. And then if I set the boundary that these are the hours that I'm working, if you work super late, fantastic, I will talk to you after 8 a.m. on the next day when I am my best self. And setting that boundary and honoring who people are, how can I bring myself and my best self, and honoring that instead of trying to force everybody to fit into the same mold is like really problematic.